So in this video I'm going to analyse River Plate's 17-year-old playmaker Franco Mastantuano, who has recently been linked with Manchester United amongst other clubs, with his release clause standing at £38 million, before I then compare him to two other South American Wonderkids who I think have Ballon d'Or level potential, before then coming to an overall conclusion on whether he's actually worth Manchester United paying that sort of fee this summer. So Franco Mastantuano, what type of player is he and how good is he? Well, in terms of style, I think Phil Foden is a pretty good comparison. A left-footed attacking midfielder who primarily wants to operate between the lines in the right-sided half space. He's got that mesmerising close ball control in tight areas, able to shift the ball quickly and float past one or even two players in close proximity. And I mean all round he's top tier in terms of his technical ability, someone who's very comfortable when dropping deep and looking to receive the ball under pressure with his back to goal, wherefrom he has a fluidity in his movement to be able to use body feints and a drop of a shoulder in order to wrong foot the pressing player on his back, before then using a burst of acceleration to motor away into space. His interplay with his teammates is also very good, kind of reminding me of a young Lionel Messi in his first few years at Barcelona, in terms of having that ability to dribble past players and carry the ball into space at speed, but unlike someone like Garnacho, he still retains full control and composure of the ball, and so he can sharply pop the ball off and continue his run and then receive the 1-2 to play around the opponent. But before I go any further, if you want to check out any cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to jerseyfifa.co. They've got a variety of different current season and retro jerseys, including Manchester United jerseys going all the way back to the early 90s. They've got a variety of different club and international retro shirts as well as tracksuits, and they will have the new season jerseys when they do come out in the summer. If you use code Atlantis at checkout, you'll also get a 10% discount for a limited time, so I'll leave it linked in the description and in the comments section below. But now back to Mastantuano. When it comes to his long passing, he doesn't utilise it that frequently, but he certainly has the ability to get the ball out of his feet and switch play with a direct pass over to the flank. And the same also goes for his ability to see and thread through balls. He does have the quality to pull off these sort of passes, but at the moment I don't think he's able to make that killer pass as frequently as you probably would like. But of course he's still only 17, so you probably would expect that. See, at the moment he's much more of a middle third kind of player, rather than someone who's going to provide consistent chance creation or goal scoring output in the final third. Even though you can see from the eye test that the quality is there, and so at the moment he kind of plays like a David Silva type, more of a midfield playmaker who aids the play in deeper areas with retention and progression of the ball, rather than more refined attacking midfielders like Wirtz or Musiala, who are able to have a bigger impact in the final third when it comes to running ahead of play and getting into goal scoring positions themselves, or being able to thread the killer pass in order to create the chance, though I do think we will see Mastantuano develop these sorts of abilities over the next few years. And so I fully expect his output in the final third in terms of chance creation and his overall goal scoring to significantly improve as he gets into his early 20s. In Ruben Amorim's 3-4-3, Mastantuano would of course play as the right-sided interior forward, which would suit him well, especially with a direct wing-back such as Ahmad on his outside, an interior forward on the other side such as Cunha, who can provide the movement in behind the back line, and a centre forward like either Liam Delap or Osimhen, who can hold a higher position on the shoulder of the last defender, pinning the centre backs backwards and stretching the space between the opposition's midfield and defensive lines for Mastantuano to drop into, receive the ball to feet, turn and then drive forward, and then look to release a runner in behind. Now in South America, Mastantuano does look like he has a turn of pace alongside the technical and ball carrying ability to be able to drive through the centre of the pitch. However, as of yet I'm not 100% sure whether this is going to translate as effectively to European football, let alone the Premier League, as in general I do think South American football has a lot more space between the lines, with defensive shapes often being a lot more stretched and not as vertically compact, with the defensive lines often dropping off a lot deeper rather than squeezing up as we see in Europe. Also, the overall pace and athleticism of South American football is a level below what it is in Europe, and so players like Mastantuano do tend to have a bit more time on the ball when they do receive it, and so he probably will need an adaptation period. However, overall, he does have a high level of technical ability, and his potential is elite in my opinion, and on the same level as some of the best young players in world football, and I'd probably argue a level above some of United's brightest youngsters, such as Shea Lacey or Amir Ibrahimov. Although if signed, I do think it's incredibly naive to assume an 18-year-old Franco Mastantuano is going to come in and instantly translate this form in Argentina to the Premier League and Manchester United. Realistically, I think he would probably need a loan to Portugal or Spain, which is probably best for his development, and even when he comes back to United next summer in 2026, even then he may need another loan to a league with greater physicality and pace in either Portugal or Spain, somewhere maybe like France or Germany, before he's then ready to come back into the United squad and compete for a starting spot. Now, before I give a concrete answer as to whether Manchester United should sign Mastantuano this summer, let me tell you about two other South American Wonderkids who I also rate extremely highly. The first is Chelsea's Estevao Willian, who is currently playing for Palmeiras, and they signed him back in June 2024. For an initial £29 million, with add-ons taking the deal up to £55 million, when he was just 17, and actually it's his birthday today, so he's just turned 18 and will be joining Chelsea this summer. £29 million is a hefty fee, but unfortunately for us United fans, he does look like one hell of a player, both from the eye test and statistically. When watching Estevao Willian, initially he doesn't seem as fluid as Mastantuano, or the next player I'm going to analyse, but he's incredibly effective when it comes to beating players in 1v1s, using his quick footwork to shift the ball and then accelerate into space. When moving at speed, he's efficient at playing short passes and receiving 1-2s, and despite his nickname being Messinho, translating to Little Messi, stylistically he kind of reminds me of a mix between Mo Salah and Vinicius, in terms of having quite a straight, upright and direct dribbling style, which is a little unorthodox, kind of like Salah, but like Vinicius, he has the acceleration and the confidence in his game to be able to drive relentlessly at defenders with very little hesitation. And around the box he also has the shooting to match, able to cut inside and either curl the ball into the far, top or bottom corner with his left foot, drive into a more central position, before releasing a low-driven shot into the bottom corner or going down the outside on his right, where he's highly competent with low-driven finishes across the keeper or more subtle dink finishes in 1v1 situations. And when you look at his FB ref report from the Brazilian Serie A in 2024, you can see that even at the age of 17, he was one of the best players in the league, ranking in the mid to high 90th percentiles for his non-penalty goals and non-penalty XG, which he overperformed by 0.08 per 90, his XG assisted, successful take-ons, as well as all three of his ball-carrying metrics as well. And so Estevao isn't just someone who has the natural ability in terms of the eye test, but he also has the output to match in terms of his ball-carrying, dribbling, chance creation, and also his goal scoring. To me, I think Estevao is a level above Endrick at Real Madrid. Having watched both players play at Palmeiras, I think Estevao is the better player, and whilst maybe next season it might be a bit too early for him to have a significant impact at Chelsea, come the 26-27 season, I expect him to be one of the most exciting young players in the Premier League, and over the next 2 to 5 seasons, I think he's going to be one of the best inside forwards in the league, if not Europe. I rate him that highly. But who is the other South American Wonderkid? Well, unfortunately, he's at Chelsea as well, and that is Kendry Paez. And from the eye test, I'm not even exaggerating when I say this, but when I first saw him, he just blew me away. One of the most technically gifted young players I've ever seen. Near perfect technique, incredible fluidity in his movement when it comes to using his quick footwork and close ball control to glide past players in tight spaces, moving in from the right side onto his stronger left foot, wherefrom he's able to seamlessly exchange short passes in even the most congested areas, and when he gets a shooting opportunity on his left foot, the power and placement on his shots for a 16-17 year old 18 in May is absolutely unbelievable. Stylistically, I think he's a mix between Ian Robben and James Rodriguez, and like Estevao Willian, I think he's in the top category of Wonderkids when it comes to potential. Paez is more of a playmaker like Mastantuano, who wants to be given the freedom to roam infield between the lines, receive the ball to feet, and then look to create with long passes, through balls, dribbles, and short passing into play, whilst Estevao is more of an inside forward, who you want receiving the ball in wider positions, isolating the fullback in 1v1s, as well as looking to break in behind the back line in order to get into goal scoring positions. Honestly, I can't believe Chelsea have managed to get Paez for just £17 million when he was 15 and Estevao for £29 million, because I could see both players being two of the best players in the world in 2 or 3 years' time. I rate them that highly, and if either player become available over the next few years for whatever reason, United 100% should be interested in signing them. But in regards to Mastantuano, I would put him on the same level as Paez and Estevao in terms of potential, though personally I do rate both Chelsea players higher, mainly because of their output in the final third, which I think is obscene for their age. But should Manchester United sign Franco Mastantuano? Well, if we had the budget, then yes, but unfortunately £38 million for a 17-year-old Argentinian at this point for United, I can't really justify it because of how many other positions we need to improve. If it was 20 to 25 million pounds, then maybe yes, but closer to 40 million pounds means that for maybe 5 or 10 million pounds more, we could sign someone like Bryan Mbeumo, who is Premier League proven and could have an instant impact starting from next season. Whereas Mastantuano may need 1, 2 or even 3 seasons, even the likes of Kendry Paez and Estevao Willian may need a year out on loan before they come back to Chelsea. And so at the moment, if you look at United's situation, I just can't justify spending £38 million on Franco Mastantuano, especially when it's reported that we are prioritising Liam Delap over Victor Osimhen. So let me know what you think of Mastantuano, Kendry Paez and Estevao Willian in the comments. If you want to check out any cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to jerseyfifa.co. You can use code Atlantis at checkout for a 10% discount. If you want to sign up to my Patreon, I'll leave that linked on the end screen now as well, alongside another video alongside that.